Welcome to this quick Imperial Advisor introduction to Tabletop Simulator. So Tabletop Simulator can be got on Steam. It is essentially a physics simulator that a lot of people use for board games. So keep an eye on it. It normally retails for about $20, but majority of the time you can get it for about half price at $10. So we're just going to click in a multiplayer and host server. Just enter in a server name and a password. Details irrelevant, and hit create server. So this is gonna create a table. You can kind of see that in the background, but we want to play some L5R, so we're gonna hit browse. That'll bring us into the Steam Workshop. So in the Steam Workshop there are a couple of purchasable games, but there are tons and tons of fan-made games. The one we're interested in is L5R by Travis Fights Dragons. So if we just scroll down, we can see it has a nice shiny new box on it. We're just going to click that green square and it'll start loading up in the background. Now we're just going to go back into Tabletop Simulator, hitting escape out of Steam Workshop. And if we go back, yep, you can see it there. So we're just going to click into the game now. So this will load up a very fine and fancy table, and we will have cards and bits and pieces that will step you through once we get in. Alright, so it's loading up. So it'll take a couple of seconds for the skins to load. Here we go. Alright, so a nice shiny table. You can zoom in and zoom out. You can use the right mouse button to kind of swing around and the left to pan back and forth. So it is just a 3D room with a couple of bits and pieces in it. These bags are honor tokens, so you can drop them in and out. You can get as many as you want, and those ones are fate tokens. You can drop them into the fate bowl, you can drop the honor into the honor bowl, and it'll keep track of it. We also have these nice buttons that just gain one fate, gain one honor. Nice and handy. Okay, I've just gone up to the top right and I've hit change color. In this it's set up that there's black, which is the someone who's looking to see everything, gray is a spectator, and then blue and red are the two people playing. So we're just going to hit red. Now you can see my name is coming up in red just behind the card space. On the left we've got a couple of bags. What Travis is after doing is he is after putting all of the cards that are currently available in those bags. So I'm just fiddling around with some bits and pieces there. Let's put that back. Alright, so I'm just going to drag out one of the stronghold bags. So in each of those bags there's more bags. That means you can keep dragging them out whenever you want. So you can get a full set of copies. So here we have the strongholds. I've just right clicked on the bag. The skins are taking a second to load up, but you can see you can, rather than pulling them out one at a time, you can actually search through the bag. So that was just right click, and when you want to, you can drop stuff back into those bags. So bags are just a handy place to keep things. In this case, these things are cards. So we're just going to play around with this card now. If we hit Alt, when we hover over it, it'll come up close. We can hit Q, or if we hold it down for a second, it'll pop up. E and Q will go back and forth. F will flip it over. What else do we need to know? Okay, we're going to play around with the honor dial here for a second. So F flips it over. We can hold it down to pull it up. We can right click to change the state here. So that brought it up to 5. But you can also just hover over it and press a number. So a lot of time when using this, you're just going to flip it upside down. You're going to pick out the number. Those two go tokens are dishonored and honor tokens. This is the who's going first token. And these little card slots are kind of lock in, so it's kind of handy to put all the bits and pieces where you need. Alright, I'm dragging out a few more cards. As you can see, they're initially... Oh yeah, I dragged over the wrong move there. So just dragging out a new bag. This is a dynasty bag. I'm just putting those roll cards back. And I'm going to right click and hit search, so we can see it's split into different clans with the neutral at the bottom right. So I want to build a dragon deck, so I'm going to pull out the dragon cards. You can see it's loading, so these are essentially just big images that are kind of coming down to be loaded up onto all these little cards. As I so you can drag them out one at a time just to pull out the cards. If you hold over a group, it will pick up. Here I'm selecting group and hitting G. G just means group, so it's putting them all together. And when I have the deck, I can just flip the deck. R shuffles it, or you can occasionally shake it, but it's handiest just to hit R. One of the handy things that you can do is you can actually draw cards to your hand. So the hand is a hidden zone that only you can see, your opponent cannot see. When you've got a deck, you can hover over the deck and press a number and the cards will go straight to your hand. So it's a handy trick to have. So here you can see I'm just moving the cards around using Q and E, F to flip and put them back into the deck again. Next, I'm gonna pull out some province cards. All right, again, similar here. You can either pull them out or you can right click and search. It's just taking us again a second to load up. That's why they look a bit strange. And in this case, each of the provinces are sorted out into the different clans, but also different elements. So for the neutral ones, you've got 5 at a time. What you saw me do there was just right click and delete just to get something off the board. And for this, I'm just gonna pull out 5 of the actual provinces, just so I've got a legal and ready to go set of provinces. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Then 1 for stronghold. I'll just pop it over there, and I'm flipping it upside down. Another handy thing is if you hit U and it'll bring something that's lower down up to the top. Generally cards start when you drop a card down, it'll end up on the top. Okay, so here's me just having a quick look through some of the neutral cards, just dragging them out. And we're just going to work out what we're going to build. So one of the things that you can do is you can Ctrl C and Ctrl V to copy and paste. So there I got a pile of cards that I wanted to have 3 times, and then I copied and then pasted and then pasted again and grouped them all together. Now I'm quickly just going to search through this deck and just pull out a couple of cards that I don't want. Oh, here we can see one of the cards from the first expansion. Travis has obviously been very proactive adding those, but I don't want to have them in for this test deck. So I'm just going to pull some cards out until I get to a happy size. A few more. What should we drop? 43 is probably fine. In a real scenario, obviously you should be cutting your deck down to 40 at all times, but for this purpose, we'll leave it here at the 42. And I'm just deleting cards I'm not interested in. F to flip it over, and we're going to move it back to that spot where it should be. Dragging out some conflict cards. Again, right click and search. Quickly pull out the neutral and the dragon. And what I'm going to quickly do here is sort them into cards I want 3 of and cards I want 2 of. So the ones going to the left I want 3 of, the ones I'm going to the right I want 2 of, and yeah, we're going to leave Tranquility and Mantra of Fire out. Not so great currently. So Ctrl C to copy, Ctrl V to paste, and this time I've just dropped them all onto the one deck and bumped them together. 24 cards, it's a good start. Let's get some neutrals. Again, we're going to do similar. We're just going to group the ones we want in 3s and the ones we want in 2s, and see what we have. So those are some of the staples. Oh, we do not want contingency planning. Good Omen, Spies at Court. No, don't want those. Root. Well, okay, we're rushing through a deck together here. We're not going to worry about it too much, so we'll just copy and paste those. Bang. 36. Yeah, 2 Cloud the Mind and 2 Assassinations should get the job done. Let's pop those over. In this case, I've got them slightly separate, but if I get them over the deck, they'll all fold into it. And I flipped it over, and we'll put it back into its place. And we're just going to select all the extra stuff we have there, and we're just going to delete it. Now, what am I missing? Oh, yeah, I need to grab a roll card. So, roll cards are just sitting out there. We were going to pick Keeper of Void. That is the dragon's legal role at the moment. So now we've got everything we need. We are actually good to start a game versus our opponent. You know, there's some rings. You can drag them around. You can flip them upside down. Same with the Imperial Favor. You have everything you need to play a game. So again, handy thing there. I just hovered over the conflict deck, hit 3, and I instantly drew 3 cards. The random discard button, again, something super handy. If you get hit by a Ring of Earth, you can just drop that. and it'll pick one at random, so no messing around. Okay, I'm just gonna group all of my provinces together here, and we'll put the roll card on top, and we'll put the dragon stronghold. So we're just gonna have 3 piles. One handy thing I like to do is have a die. So I'm just gonna go down to objects, components, and then plastic dice, and I'm gonna pick me a D20. This is purely to decide things at the start. Now I'm gonna right click, gonna color tint, gonna change this to green. A nice good dragon green, and we're going to have a look at scale. No, down. Scale, we're just going to make it a little bit bigger. This is something you can do with everything. If you want to make super big cards, you can. If you want to change how your dial looks. Okay, that's just me throwing it to roll it. You shake it to roll it, or if I just hit R, it'll randomize it. So that's the exact same as we were doing for shuffling a deck. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, to the right, there's a little box type of thing. I'm just going to Ctrl Z it and Ctrl V it on the table. Alright, we're going to need to make it a little bit smaller before it'll actually be useful. We're just going to use this as a convenient deck box to keep everything. Alright, yeah, that'll do. Okay, now this deck, this is set up to be an infinite box. Right click, custom, and we've changed it from infinite into bag. Now when I drop it into, oh hold on, I had an extra deck in there, never mind. Alright, so I drop the dice in, I can drop my conflict, I can drop my dynasty, and I can drop my stronghold in bits and pieces. So now if I right click and give it a name, so here we've got dragon deck, now we've got a box. So we are going to save this box, so just right click down to save object, we'll put in dragon deck 2, and I hit delete there. Now if we go back into objects and saved objects, we can pull out dragon deck 2, and we have our deck. So we can just pull everything out. There's our stronghold and bits and pieces, and the other 2 decks. And as you can see, it's loading up, so we can go into somebody else's game and we can just drop this object in, and we are good to go. So that essentially is Tabletop Simulator. If you join the L5R Discord, you'll be able to go into one of the channels there and get an opponent and get some games in. Start practicing for some big tournaments.